Hello and welcome to another weekly episode of the Beer Fridge podcast. On this week's episode, it's natural selection time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, your home of real beer, real breweries, real opinions of Beer Fridge podcast. As always, wherever you listen to this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, hit those ding-a-ling-a-lings to be notified of every single episode. You can show your support by giving us a 5-star rating. You can show your official support by going to patreon.com/Beer Fridge podcast. My name is Gavin. I've got my usual drinking friends. I've got Scott and I've got Callum somewhere. If I can find them, there he's there. Bingo. Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
That's fine. And this evening we are joined by Ben, Liam, and Kinga from Natural Selection. Good evening, one and all.
Evening, guys.
Hello.
How are we? We look
Very
scared.
There's three of us. I'm not sure who's going to turns to talk. No, all good.
Super stuff. Don't you worry about that. I've got it sorted, Liam. I'll point you in the right direction. Right, we will kick things off.
You will you?
I will.
Couldn't more than
Who's
you ever
next
done.
with the most
You just let us talk over the top of one another.
I know. I've gave up you lot. I tried many times. I just gave up. Let's go around the virtual table and see what we're drinking to kick things off.
Let's go around the table.
Callum, Mr. Muir, kick us
Come
off.
back to me.
Oh, right.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What are you doing?
I'm Googling hops, so I don't look like a complete unprofessional
Oh,
twat.
yeah. You're awful. You're awful. Gavin, you tell us what you're drinking.
I've not even opened one yet because I was doing what we usually do and let you guys start, and then that's when I open a beer.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
go on
If you're
then.
right,
Christ.
okay. So,
How have we been doing this so long?
that is what it is, mate. That is what it is. So, I'm kind of brand adjacent tonight. I'm starting things off with a Stewart Brewing and the latest Project 7 release, and it's called Gert Lush. 5% New England, and this is just what the doctor ordered today. It's been really warm, and this is just going down an absolute treat. So it's got Simcoe 805, which is the development thing that the guys were talking about a few weeks back when we had them on. Plus Nectaron Rolaka Simcoe T90. So it's proper, juicy, fruity, and it drinks like an 8%, I think, even though it's only 5. And I was fortunate enough to be in the brewery today and managed to get my 2-litre growler filled with this straight from the keg, straight from the tank. So it's super fresh, and I've set myself a challenge of drinking the whole thing tonight. So strap yourselves in.
Good.
You. I'm switching you up halfway through at this point. Right, I'm going to stay on trend because we've got the team from Natural Selection who have brewed their annual beer with the team at Stewart Brewing. I think the best thing to potentially do is we should have done this the other way around, but we're here now. We've made it to this point. Kinga, you are in charge of the recipe of this beer. I've had one sip of this, and this is confusing me, but in a really good way, and wants me to drink more of it to try and be a beer snob and dissect it and thoroughly enjoying the process of doing it. But I want to know more about this because this is very, very interesting. Tell us what it is and what, as a drinker, we should be getting.
So, hello. I was the brewer on the project. So the main focus was developing the beer you're drinking, and it's a Rooibos Infused Blonde Ale, American blonde, but the Belgian style. And the Rooibos is a South African herbal infusion, not officially a tea, but people drink it as tea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, it's super well balanced for a start. There's a lovely kind of sweet, kind of floral right in the back of it that just kind of lingers, which makes you keep going back for more and more. The color of it is superb. This kind of bright orange kind of tinge, which is fantastic. It looks the part. It is tasting the part. I'm loving the kind of this South African vibe being brought into the beer. Gil, you've dipped your nose into it and you've just had a little sip yourself. First thoughts?
I think it's excellent. It's got a really nice kind of bitterness to it. First of all, I will say thanks, Kinga, for helping us with the pronunciation, because there's absolutely no fucking way I could have read that. I could have tried that 18 times and never got Rooibos from it. There would have been many roos.
I was going full roo. That was me.
So thanks very much, and thanks, Gav, for directing it so that we got the pronunciation in early doors. I was doing that. Excellent work. I enjoy what I assume the infusion's bringing. It's got a lovely kind of, not only is it a kind of beery bitterness, but it's also a kind of depth of flavour, whilst also being kind of the whole beer being pretty light and palatable and refreshing and wanting you to go back for more. So top marks as far as recipe goes, and the colour is, as you say, Gavin, it's spectacular, isn't it?
It's super. It is.
Really cool.
It goes back to that thing we've been mentioning it quite a few times over the last couple of weeks. Like, no drinkability of beers and want to go back and drink more and more and more. And those beers that you want to sit in the park in the summer when the sun is just belting the way it has been the last couple of weeks. This is honestly one of the beers that you're going to want. I know we said before, like, a nice easy pack, but if you're looking for something that, if you want something more crafty and at 4.3%, like, just a wee cheeky 4-pack of those just sitting there. Oh, thank you very much. Like, it sounds perfect. But yeah, enjoying it to nth degree. Liam, you were a project manager. How was that process? How did you enjoy that? And what were your kind of challenges?
So a lot of challenges. I would probably say like more coordinating than managing, but like mostly just sorting out ingredient sourcing, and honestly half the time it felt like I was just responsible for getting the Uber for everyone to get to the brewery on time. But,
love it.
All got to be done. Important job.
Incredibly important.
So when you say ingredient sourcing, so we know the beer was brewed at Stewart. What, asides the Rooibos, what sort of ingredients did you have to get in? I mean, did you have sort of free reign over their ingredient store? Could you use what you wanted when you were there, or did you have to source your own ingredients and bring them or have them delivered to the brewery for the brew?
So Stewart's provided pretty much all of the malt and the hops. If we wanted anything specific, like we've used lemon drop for this beer, which they don't necessarily stock. They're able to then order that in for us. And then with the Rooibos, we went through a few suppliers initially, and then kind of figured out that Pico Tea were providing something that we wanted, and were able to supply us in, because it's quite a big order of tea.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. So we know that hops can be quite, depending on the flavour profile that you want to go for, there can be quite a heavy hop addition, when you're dry hopping or whatever. So what size was the brew, and what sort of volume of tea were you looking for?
So it was a 5,000 litre brew, and we used around 23 kilos of tea in the end. So yeah, a fair addition.
Nice.
And King, how did you come up with the idea of using the Rooibos in it? Well,
when we applied to the project, we had to do a presentation on what we would want to make if they select us into it. And I remember just thinking, well, I have to come up with something great to like convince everyone. So I just thought of something I would really enjoy, because I really enjoy blonde ales, and I've been drinking Rooibos since I was like 16, and in my head it made sense.
Yeah.
And then after I got in, based on my idea, I just had to convince the other three that it would make sense, which was harder than convincing the people at the uni. But eventually got here, and I just kept telling them that it makes sense. It it does, and it does, in my opinion. Like, it came out to be a great beer.
Because the project as a whole is every single year kind of pushing the boundaries of what you can do in brewing. Like, we've had a Belgian wit beer, you've had a farmhouse ale, had a honeycomb milk stout. So, like, pushing the boundaries in brewing. And for yourself, Ben, in terms of the kind of marketing side of it, you've obviously done a fantastic job with the imagery and stuff. For you, what was your challenge, and how were you able to kind of push the boundaries in that aspect?
Well, I guess it kind of relates to what King was saying. You want to come up with something innovative and new, but you can push the boundaries too far and make something crazy. So we wanted to find the balance between something new and interesting that's gonna engage people, but also make it sessionable, and then the imagery with the packaging, trying to engage as many people as you can visually, make something that stands out. From my perspective, I've never done anything marketing wise before. Obviously, it's not really the side you consider. Like us all doing the brewing and distilling course, we're more like the technical side and the science behind it, and the hands-on brewing. So, and you kind of leave the sales and the marketing to someone else. So to see it from another perspective is pretty cool. I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out. So I think on the whole, the product, how it looks, how it's been communicated, I think we've done a pretty cool job, if I do say so myself.
That's it. I mean, the confidence is definitely not misplaced. I mean, I think the can looks great. It definitely stands out. The black can with I'll just show it actually now, because I keep forgetting that we record the video as well. I think the can looks fantastic. It's simple, but it stands out a lot. Yeah, props for that.
I think the bit as well that it does you can put it beside other Stewart beers and it doesn't look out of place. Like it for me, it still has that Stewart vibe to it, but at the same time, standing alone.
Well, it stands out, man. Like I was in the brewery today, and we know that you go into the shop, the sort of wall next to the bars completely filled with cans and bottles and things like that, and that definitely stands alone. It draws the eye, and in amongst the rest of the Stewart beers, it definitely it's markedly different, which I think is great, because it's clearly a different project, and you don't want it falling in line with all the rest at the same time. So
yeah, appreciate that.
Does it having to take a turn at the marketing side of things and not necessarily the brewing bit, which is obviously that's the idea and the kind of pinnacle, if you like, does it make you more understanding as a brewery what a marketing department might have to come up against, or a sales department? Or are you still thinking, nah, fuck it, I'm just going to brew the beer I like to drink, and I'll let them deal with it, whoever they might be?
There's always an element of, oh, fuck them, that's their problem. I'm just going to make what I make. But it's definitely given me a newfound sense of respect for the creativity and like just how saturated the market is, and trying to do something that's not been done already. Like trying to come up with ideas, or just something that's going to catch figures, because like just find out about algorithms online, and like the average viewing time is 2-3 seconds, and you've got to make an impact and draw people in when there's so many other great options around. Yeah. I do have a sense of respect for them, but I don't think I'm going to be turning to the marketing or sales anytime soon.
No, but in the future, if you get to a position where you're wanting to be, your own business and run your own brewery, then that kind of experience is totally invaluable. That you can turn your hand to that. To know that you can turn your hand to that and make a product that's quality, then must give you some confidence.
Yeah, 100%. It wasn't when we the 4 roles that were available, you'd applied for the individual roles, and marketing was not one that I applied for. Like, I think it's my lowest preference, to be honest. But I'm glad that I've seen the side of it, because if I do go out on my own, which I'd love to do one day, then having that experience and knowing what it takes, and also maybe considering marketing if you're making my own beers in the future, maybe a tiny bit. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not just we'll just chuck a whole. Well, we've spoken to breweries in the past whose idea of marketing is to chuck loads of names for different beers up on a whiteboard and then leave it and then pick one when it comes to like, what will we name this? Right, okay, grab one of the ones off that list and that'll do. What about art? I don't know.
Yeah, but
Just
it,
get
but
somebody
it
else
shows
to
you,
do it.
this kind of project is, it shows you that brewing skill isn't the be all and end all. I mean, it's the most important thing, and the product in the can is the most important thing. But at the same time, you could have the best liquid in the world, but if nobody wants to pick the can up and look at it, or nobody wants to take the time to invest in looking at the product, then nobody's going to taste it. So these kind of things are all vitally important. So
yeah, 100%.
I've not had my tuppence worth in on the beer, but I
you
really,
switched
really
over?
like it.
Sorry.
No, when we kind of abandoned the let's go around the table and see what everyone's drinking,
I know,
and I was the only one not drinking the beer. I thought, right, well, I better fucking open it then, eh? So it's not. I'm really enjoying it. You mentioned, Kinga, that it's in the Belgian style, so the can's amazing and that it's got all the ingredients and stuff on. So I don't need to try and detect things, which I'm useless at. But it's not got a Belgian yeast or anything in there, but it does have that Belgian flavour, that kind of vibe that you're getting when you're drinking it. It definitely tastes like a Belgian ale, which I love. I love Belgian beers. So how did that come about? Is that I don't have that much experience in brewing, so where does that come from?
Well, we used an English yeast, and we used nothing from Belgium, as far as I'm aware.
It's more American
Yeah, we're
blonde
going
than Belgian.
we're going for the American because it's more sessionable.
Aye.
Because the Belgian ones are usually stronger.
Yeah, so it doesn't have that
yeah.
punch, like you say. It's not as alcoholic as you would get in Belgium. But it's definitely got that vibe, which I really like. But the Rooibos definitely gives that kind of. I'm getting like honey and spice and stuff, which is really, really pleasant. It's yeah, I really like it. I don't really think I can say much more than that. It's definitely adding something to the beer, which I'm really, really enjoying.
See you're talking kind of about having to, obviously you're having to do your own marketing pitch within your kind of remit of how do I get everybody on board with this Rooibos infused stuff. How many Rooibos tea drinkers have you converted within your group of four? Are there anybody who's swapped coffee for Rooibos now, or how many cups did they have to go through before you got them on board?
Well, Rooibos is naturally decaf, so I don't think any coffee drinkers will be converting soon to that. But as for the issue was that some of them were not really into tea on the team, and I just kept saying how there are so many like coffee stouts and like coffee beers and fruit beers, and we're infusing beer with like everything, but you don't see tea at all, or like not at all. But on like the big commercial market, you don't see tea infused beers.
Yep.
No.
And that question came up to me in back in December when we did this application process, and that's when I started like researching into like why is that? Like, is there an actual reason? Couldn't find anything. It's just not a thing that people really do. But funnily enough, when we ended up in Stewart's in January and then we talked about it, they said that they experimented recently with a tea infused beer. So it kind of felt like this is a good match, because then they know what we are looking for if we are going with that beer. Because in January we didn't know what the beer we are releasing will be. But it just kind of worked out eventually. But it was based on the processes they used. So we kind of stole that and then started making our infusion that way.
Was there any
kind of infusion in the past? Like I've seen a couple of Earl Greys, maybe once or twice, a Jasmine once, and then there's every now and again somebody will chuck something weird and wonderful like bergamot or something like that into a beer, and it's always kind of wild. But this tastes, it's just it's like don't know how you would normally drink it. I suppose you could have it warm or cold, but it's like a kind of just a nice iced tea infused flavour with all the hops and everything singing, and it marries pretty well together. So it's novel, but it seems like it fits. It doesn't seem like you get some combinations where you're like, I don't know if that's what I've had, the opinion I've had of some of the Earl Grey stuff in the past. I think Earl Grey's a bit of a weird flavour. It's a weird kind of, I don't know, infusion to try and go with.
It's quite Marmite.
This is just
it's
totally different. It's just loads more refreshing than I can remember any of those other tea infused beers being.
Well, one of the main things we all agreed on when we were deciding what we were going to do was we wanted something that you didn't want to have half a pint or a pint because you're curious, but you know you're not going to have any more. Yeah. We wanted something from a sales perspective and like an enjoyment perspective that you're going to go back to. So trying to find that balance with, like I said before, with something new, but turn it down to a level. If you're making a tea beer, you got to taste it, but you don't want it to overpower it and make it too much. So
I think you guys have got the balance spot on. In terms of the kind of brew day and stuff, was there any challenges that popped up? I know the team at Stewart are well versed and the crew have got things ticking over nicely there, but was there any issues on the day?
We had to change our hops on the
Yeah.
So we did the whole like list of ingredients we need. They ordered in the lemon drop for us, and then we knew that we had this general idea that everything will be fine. Like we have everything. The mold has been already like pre-measured for us, so we are good to go. And then as we are looking to do the hops, and then we're looking through every single corner of the brewery, we realized that one of them is like halfway missing. So as you can see on the can, we used Amarillo, and we could only find half of the amount we needed. And then they realized at the brewery that they are phasing it out. So there's no more.
Right.
So on the spot, we had to figure out what we were gonna substitute it with, well, the other half, because we still wanted to use that one half. So the other half, which is Simcoe, was chosen on the day, and then we just kind of hoped that it will work out. The tea edition was also a big nightmare compared to when we did the trials. It was an 100-liter kit on their craft kitchen, and it's a bit different making like 4 liters of tea compared to, what was it, 200 liters of tea we added at the end. It's an infusion. So these two things are definitely a challenge on the day, but it kind of worked out for the best. Like this version that you're drinking is the best version out of the 4 we made in total of this beer.
Good. But this
So
was
the
the
one
first
you're
beer that had
happiest with, that's
Simcoe in
good.
it.
Sorry?
This was the first one that had Simcoe in it. Yeah.
Yes. This
Yeah,
was
we're-
the first one with
That's a
Simcoe.
lucky stroke then.
We're
This
in
is
the
where I need to point
And
in the brewery with radar
the
plots,
tea-
sensory profiles, just trying to work out
Alright.
what's most similar. So it's a bit of guesswork in the end.
okay.
Yeah,
That's like
I'll
us
tell
with
you
the
what,
old,
it's good
the old
guess.
app made an appearance, wasn't it? It was we were trying to pick our stuff and we went there and all of a sudden somebody appeared. It was like, what do you want in it? We're like, we don't know. Just have a look. Next thing it was, and then they made the mistake of opening the fridge up and every our nose was in every single bag, thinking like, we could use that one, and we could have very easily ended up with a 12 hop long hop bill. But like honestly, it was like, 3 pellets of that, 4 pellets. It was like somebody going on about the choose the mixture at the cinema, trying to pick. It was like, I'll have 3 jelly beans,
Pick
I'll
and
have 2 of this, 3 that, and then it was like, no. Like, here's the app. This bit of kit will tell you what you should put in, and then if you want to verge ever so slightly either side, you can. But this is the way to go, and how much you should add and when. And it kind of reined us in a bit, because we would have had, it'd have been a list as long as my arm with no flavour of anything in it. A few grams of each one that was available on the day if we weren't careful.
So people listening to the podcast may be wondering about the kind of natural selection brewing and what it is, and may have heard this kind of all Kinga, Liam and Ben talking about getting selected and stuff. The guys are part of the Herriot Watt Brewing and Distilling course. The Herriot Watt program up there is probably regarded as one of the best programs in the country in terms of kind of brewing and distilling. And we've heard about it numerous times. Never spoke to people that are still on the course currently, so that's very exciting. For you guys, obviously, I know it sounds fucking corny, it's going to come out of my mouth anyway, but that you guys are the future of brewing. So I know.
I'll try.
I know.
Yeah.
I had it written down, and yeah,
Right.
it looked better written down than actually saying out loud. But for you guys, what sets that course apart? And for you guys, like for yourselves, what are you hoping to get from it and looking going forward? We'll start with yourself, Ben.
I think what you touched on already, the prestige of it. Like anywhere you look as for brewing qualifications, Herriot Watt always comes up. You look at all the great breweries around the world, not even just in the UK. They're all alumni from Herriot Watt, so it's kind of a no-brainer if you want to be studying brewing. That's the place to go. And then what do I want to achieve from it, or what do I want to get out of the brewing course?
Yeah, where do you want to be? Like, what's your aspirations and hopes and dreams?
Oh God!
Wow, it's a beautiful question. I guess short term is just learn as much as I can. So I thought my background is chemical engineering, so I didn't have much brewing experience before this. So yeah, learn as much as I can on the theory side, and then next couple of years as much practical experience, and then if I've got the cash available, then start my own brewery up in a few years. Start small and then see where that takes me. But I think, yeah, just learn as much as I can and then see where it goes from there. And see if I can go my own way. That'd be pretty cool. I think that's everyone's brewing dream, I guess, isn't it?
Yep, true that. Liam, same question to yourself, but also an add-on is during the course, do you guys kind of get to go out in the field and visit breweries and kind of lend a hand and get hands-on experience as well?
I think this project has really been the main hands-on experience we've had. We have a brewery in the uni, so we're able to kind of assist in some brew days there, and there's some like homebrew competitions that go on. But for the most part, all the tours and stuff are kind of student organized, and then we try and take a bit of initiative. For me, like in terms of what I wanted to get out of the course, it was just kind of specializing in something new. We've all kind of come from so many different backgrounds, and that's been so great in terms of being able to network with different people from different cultures and see what other people like and what they don't like has just been very interesting, but also just to learn something that you think you've been drinking for so many years, just kind of learning the process, really.
Yeah. Good stuff. Kenga, same for yourself, and another add-on. Surely student night out must be less expensive. You take some homebrew home.
Well, I can just echo the other two guys. This is such a big honor to be part of this course. There's only 50 of us on the MSc, and it's the most in a way it's the most renowned brewing and distilling course in the world. It's been a big dream of mine. So being here doing this thing is just insane. I always thought I would go into distilling, but this project really kind of changed that, because it makes you kind of fall in love with brewing. That I woke up with that and went to bed with it for 6 months now. This beer was on our mind so much, just the generic stress if people will drink it, or just the technical parts, and then going to the brewery and talking to people. Yes, if we have some homebrew, drinking together is a big fun. We can try what others are drinking. There are packaging days when we could go into the brewery at the uni and try what we made on brew days there, with some nibbles and stuff, and kind of always agree that these are not the best things, but at least we made them. So that's kind of the generic vibe there usually. Just going through 8 different bottles of some random stuff that was left there for months.
Sounds like a day.
I know.
Yeah, it's just great. just trying different. We had to make porters, so we went through trying each other's porters, and they were genuinely not good. Like I think there was like 10 different teams.
I mean,
None
if
of
that's
them were good.
if that's a part of your day at uni, I mean, Christ, that's
But at least we tried. That
Yeah.
was our first real brew on the course in October. But it's just a fun experience to see what others like, what we like, what ideas people have when it comes to beer or brewing, because everyone wants to do something different,
yeah.
and that's quite
Crazy.
nice, isn't it?
What
So
a
the-
baptism with fire, eh? Just in that you're only in the door however many months, and it's like, I just knock up a porter for us, I'll catch his season a bit.
Isn't it?
That's terrifying.
How much?
I can imagine
How much
somebody
of the
saying that.
course is? How much of the course is practical? Like, obviously, you're saying that that there's a small brewery on site at Herriot Watt that you can use for brew days and things like that. How much of the onus is on you to practice your craft on your own time, or is there any pressure on you to have a homebrew kit and things? Because obviously that kind of thing's not cheap, or and it's not the typical student might not have the space to brew and ferment and things like that. So how does that work?
I'd say the course is probably nearly all theoretical, and then with the odd bit of practical work where we'd almost go in and observe and kind of like assist like on a basic level with all the recipe and stuff being planned out beforehand. I mean, most of the course, as far as I know, is in student halls, so we can't really get away with any homebrew kits. But,
I was going to say, it'd be a good reason for setting a fire alarm off. I just boiled over there. Sorry. Why is the cooker all sticky again? That was me.
Sorry.
Porridge gone wrong. I promise. It was not trying to brew a heifer in house. Why is there a big grain bucket next to the actual bin? Sorry, nothing to do.
Well, that's quite a lot of pressure then. If everything's on a sort of theory basis and you're pitching these ideas to get into this program, to brew the beer, and suddenly you've been selected because you've done a great pitch and you've got a great idea, but then suddenly you're at Stewart and you need to make the beer, and that's pretty tough. So congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
The natural
That's where me and
question.
Gavin live, isn't it, Gavin?
Exactly.
Me and you live in the brewery of the mind.
Oh yes.
The brewery of the
excellent.
mind. Very little practical application, but we can dream up a good beer or two.
Oh yeah, we can. We can definitely dream them up.
Good to be able to turn it into something tangible, because that's the bit me and you would fall over. And also being able to calculate kilograms per litre and grams per litre, we would struggle with. That's why there's apps.
Yep.
Thanks for that. That's why these people, the smart people that have been on the course beforehand, have went, fuck that, I'm not calculating that anymore. I'm not going to bother with these spreadsheets. What we'll do is we'll just create this tool. As long as it doesn't stay in AI, we're all right. It's just a spreadsheet. It's fine. Just calculate all that in a spreadsheet. That'll be all right.
The natural question about these homebrew days, etc., that you do, and these beers that you've kind of conjured up and made and tried and tested each other's has got to be what has been the weirdest creation that you guys have sampled on the course so far. There must be
or
something
you've seen in
like,
theory.
Yeah, exactly. And you must be like, what? That sounds.
That's where the other two come up with. Well, some idiot decided it'd be a good idea to have a Rooibos infused beer. Oh, wait a minute, sorry.
Sounds like our conversation 3 months ago.
That'd have been the answer 3 months ago.
Kenga, yourself, anything weird that you've seen or tasted that you go, oh, why are we doing that?
I just remember one of them had like clove in it, was it? It just tasted very off.
I was thinking the same one.
Yeah, the clove one. We don't know who made it. So
The reason they left
kind
that
of
behind with the monks, wasn't it? Like that.
I mean, my understanding of that one was that it's one of our lecturers likes to brew that one just before Christmas and take it home.
Yeah.
The clove one. So it's meant to be kind of Christmas themed and ideal for them.
It's such an overpowering thing, you get like, oh, we'll have 2 teaspoons of coriander, and you know, you're making a curry or you're making, you know, a spice for Christmas, even mulled wine and things like that. It's like, oh, we'll put spoons and spoons and spoons, and we'll put 1 clove in. You know,
it's the
it's
the
such an
medieval
overpower-
equivalent of adding sugar to stuff or adding things to hide an off flavour.
Yeah.
It's like it's the medieval equivalent of sticking aftershave on to hide the fact you've not been for a shower. It's like, honestly, it's just like what we'll do is we'll just that meat's kind of off. It's not 100%.
Stick some cloves in.
Fridges, just fire loads of cloves in it. Nobody will taste it. It'll be fine. All they'll taste cloves. That
Tastes
beer.
like-
what
it
about
tastes
that?
like
That
being at
beer's
the
off,
dentist
kind of
to
off
me. It's
flavour.
just-
What will we do? I just ram loads of cloves in it. That's fine.
that,
Spice
yeah.
it up to the absolute max. Nobody will taste the difference. Right? Okay. Just shove loads of that in it. It's definitely a delicate balance. It's not for. It's going to put. You said Marmite earlier. It's definitely one of those ones, but it's way worse. I don't think you're not going to find many people that will be into cloves as a general.
Pretty easy to get wrong as well, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's the balance that you're walking a tightrope with cloves. I'm on board with that. That's a weird.
Liam's picked the same. Ben, you got any standouts apart from the clove, or is it just the clove one?
Oh, that's definitely the worst. But the ones it's less free reign. It was more there was like brew clubs where they had a style that they'd already decided they were brewing on. So there wasn't like the stuff that I tried, at least there wasn't like free reign to make something completely mental. There was some sort of control.
Yeah.
To stop stuff veering off too crazy. I think people did stuff in their own time, but I didn't get in on any of the crazy experimental stuff.
That makes sense. It kind of leads on to another question. Obviously, you guys are the young team going into the brewing world. For yourselves, like, where do you kind of guys see the future of brewing? Where do you see things going? Obviously, we're getting these hop oils over nowadays that are kind of amplifying the aromas of beers, etc. For yourselves, is there something that you think might come round, or you like we spoke about a couple of weeks ago with the use of AI and stuff? Like, for yourself, Liam, to kick things off, is anything that you see happening in brewing in the future, or would like to happen in the future of brewing?
I mean, I feel like I'm seeing a bit more of a return to locality, which is quite nice. You know, in terms of breweries going, not necessarily to try and launch nationally, just to almost serve their local community with things that are like local ingredients. It's been happening in food for a while now, and I think beer's starting to come around to it as well. So yeah, that kind of return to local craft rather than. I mean, yeah, I think like there's plenty of novel stuff, and there's always going to be a market for it. But I think predominantly that's the big trend that I see happening.
Seeing you nodding there, King, is that your same thoughts as well, or what else do you see happening?
Yeah, it just, with everything kind of changing, and you mentioned AI and stuff, brewing has such a long history, like longer than some people might like think.
Yep.
Like everyone, like back in the days, even back in the days, they made beer. They didn't really call it beer, but it was essentially that. And with something with such a rich history, I don't think we should allow it to be taken over by AI or those sort of things. Like, you see so many weird things nowadays, like, you know, with sours coming in and hazies, and everyone's trying to overplay each other with making it more extra and more this and more that, and the impulses are over the roof. I can really support going back to like tradition a bit more. Like, there are things like in Scotland they used Groot, which was like getting everything from the forest and like using that kind of instead of hops back in the days, and that was a natural way of making your own beer that's to like pays homage to your homeland, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So we don't really need to make these very crazy beers that you can't describe with 2-3 words. You need to describe it in a paragraph, because there are so many flavors and so much this that. I don't think that's the way forward, because just like with like wine, how people respect vineyards and winemaking and all that, we need to do the same with beer. We need to respect the history, the traditions, and we shouldn't just make it all crazy and weird just because we can. Because Because I don't think that's
I
that's a
totally
correct
agree.
way.
I totally agree. I think you're 100% right there, and I suspect Scott's googling the same thing that I'm thinking of at the moment. And I'm not to teach to suck eggs or anything like that, but it's, have you tried? There's a beer from Wasted Degrees, who are based up in Pitlochry. The beer's called Longship Saga, and they Scott can Google while I'm blathering here. They didn't use hops. They used a traditional herbal ingredient that was used in Scotland, as you say, centuries and centuries ago, before hops were even available to the brewers. And have you tried that beer?
I was thinking of Williams Bros because they did their Heather, the Heather
Frau
one,
Heather,
and the
yeah.
yes, the Frau, which is a traditional Scottish like beer, and they also use Groot. I think they use Groot in their pine beer.
Right,
So
okay.
it's on the. I don't know if it's in the market anymore, but they did a pine
If only
something.
we knew somebody at Williams Bros.
And then I think they used
Yeah.
Groot in that one because when I researched for this project, I looked into using, maybe we'd use Groot or do something like that. And then I found that, and then I tried to hunt down some bottles from them to try. But yeah, I was thinking Williams Bros. Wow, that sounds interesting.
It was
Wasted Degree stuff was
Myrtle.
Bog Myrtle or
Yeah.
America Gale.
America
Bog
Gale.
Myrtle.
Also, the common name's bog myrtle, which is like a traditional sort of foraged ingredient, and I, it's one of these things. It's much along the same line as your Rooibos. As some people might like it, some people don't like it. And Mark, who's not with us tonight, didn't particularly like the beer that I'm talking about, but I loved it. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and to bring such a depth of flavour and complexity without using hops. But I think the return to tradition is definitely well overdue for me.
To go full circle, if you get a bad batch of the Bog Myrtle, what you do is you ram it full of cloves because of the Scottish miserliness where we'll absolutely no throw anything away. What you do is you just spice it to hell. Spice it to hell and then drink that. So if you get a bad batch of Bog Myrtle, all is not lost. What you do is you add cloves to it. That's it. You've brought it back to life.
Excellent
If
callback.
nobody
there,
likes it,
Gilbert.
you tell them to drink it quicker.
Indeed. Same question posed to yourself, Ben. The kind of future brewing, where you see things going and stuff, or where you'd like it to go.
Well, mine is where I think it's potentially going to go is kind of the complete opposite. I'm thinking more the route of genetic engineering in terms of genetically engineered or modified yeast, barley to make it more weather resistant in regions where it's not growing, or yeast to express certain characteristics that reduce the need for hops, or if there's no hop availability. So it's not necessarily where I want it to go, but I think it's definitely got its benefits. I think when you hear genetic engineering, genetic modification, it's like panic mode, like they're just messing with us to make it unhealthy. But I think there is benefits to it, and the way that technology is going, I think that is a trend. And as well, kind of making beer more like the premiumization of it, in terms of like the fancy restaurants having wine lists and wine sommeliers. I feel like there's definitely scope for like beer lists and more beer experts in high-end food, and in the two, the way that wine is, I feel like that'd be a pretty cool space to go into. I don't think it's that popular at the moment, but I've had a couple of conversations recently with people who seem to think it's a cool idea, and I think it is as well. So
Shock the chemist goes full GM on us, eh?
This is your technology.
My background's in chemical engineering, so what we're going to do is we're just going to fuck all this stuff about going back in history. What we'll do is I'm just going to grow you your cheeseburger and IPA in a lab, and you'll get it in a couple of days' time. Okay?
Well, if engineering doesn't work, we've always got cloves, so we've always got the.
Oh, and we can always go. We'll get back to the mean. No.
Well played.
I agree with the whole aspect of changing the crops and making things more weather resistant and stuff, because the way that the climate's going at the moment is wetter. It's wetter, it's harder to grow, and it's all that's doing is pushing prices up. And I think to have strains of malts and barley and things like that that are more able to be grown in this country and reduce the need to bring stuff in from elsewhere, then I think that can only be a good thing.
I think, yeah, with drive towards sustainability, I think it's inevitable it's going to be used at some point. So just using it in the right ways. Yeah, pretty much.
What we need to do is we need to genetically engineer hops that can produce the same flavour profiles as the ones that we get from America and New Zealand and Australia, but allow them to be grown in the UK, because we've got such a tradition of hop growing in the UK. You know, this is where the UK is where it started, really, and the UK and Europe is where it started, but we've kind of fallen behind. We, the beers of today, the craft beer industry today is so focused on hops from America or hops from New Zealand and Australia. We should be trying to grow the same or similar hop profiles here.
Well, there's like theolized yeast strains that are kind of doing the same sort of thing, and they bringing out the juicy flavors without the need for all the hops and imports, that kind of stuff.
Sorry, we'll hold Callum to these for the next 6
aye.
months. He can go on an entirely jester-based diet when it comes to beer. We'll see how he gets on.
Mate,
The old UK only hops.
if I have to live on Fuggles, I'll live on Fuggles. Didn't you
Yeah, so I mean, a different question for you guys. Obviously, we've spoken about your beer which you've made, which is fantastic, going down an absolute treat, might I say, and going down way too quickly, which is a show of a good beer. Favorite breweries that you guys are trying and drinking yourselves. We talk about the ones that we love, and it's good to kind of get other perspective of breweries that you guys enjoy and you guys think are doing good things. Liam, I'll pose the question to yourself first. What's your kind of favorite breweries at the moment?
I mean, so I grew up in Brighton, so I was kind of in that whole scene, and like I've always been a big fan of Burning Sky. Just the saisons, and I think just the whole process of what they're doing is just great. And then you've also, I'm spoiled for choice. You end up with like Beak and Humbard and Hand Brewery. There's just so many. Just not short of inspiration at all.
I know it's hard work being down here in the south coast, isn't it, and having so many really good beers on your doorstep. Oh my goodness. I've got Burning Sky half an hour that way. I've got Beak half an hour that way.
Sorry, we'll stick to Overtone, Williams Brothers, Stewart.
Aye, no, unfair. No, it's the same up.
Take
road.
a walk.
It's the
You
same
can only need to walk 500 yards along Leith in any direction, and you've already got close to that. So.
Yeah, very true.
I was just.
I feel for the middle of the country. I feel for the middle of the country, if I'm honest. Us up north are actually pretty well served, and you down south are well served. It's the middle I feel for.
Manchester.
Oh wait,
right?
you've got Northern Ireland places like that. We're spoiled for choice.
We are indeed.
For choice.
King, yourself, what standout breweries, your favourite ones?
Currently, I'm falling more and more in love with Pilot because of their peach Melba sour. I could drink all of it genuinely. I spent time in Lancaster, so Lancaster Brewery is very close to my heart. Their core range includes a blonde, and I do love that beer. That's fantastic. And I grew up in Hungary. Whilst I'm not the biggest fan of cheap Eastern European lager, there are some breweries that make decent beer. I love a creek, so anyone who makes a good, genuinely good creek is up my alley. And some fantastic breweries at home that make craft beers, especially a dark chili infused lager. That's great. That's a very, very, very good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like the sound of that. All right, yep, that's right up my street. Ben, yourself?
I think since moving up to Edinburgh, not heard of them before, New Barns is probably my favourite one. It's like no nonsense proper beer. You know, they not going too crazy with anything experimental, just like pure good classic beers. I think they're awesome. They're definitely my favorite, and the tap room as well on Leith Walk is my favorite places to drink in Edinburgh. So I think they're a standout for me at the moment.
And way back to lockdown, that was where Jane Street was a constant haunt for those of us who were key workers and could make the trip out to grab top ups and stuff. I remember meeting Mark from this very parish in the queue at Jane Street, not knowing we were going to be there. Just like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be outside. Sorry, key worker, bud. Right, okay. Key worker to get to buy cans and stuff, and that was pre tap room, pre anything. So, literally, roller door opened, plinth. It was like two stands and a board card machine. Go for it, right? Okay, thanks. That was their pivot during lockdown. Was we're just going to open and start, and then you've got so many places in that industrial estate alone. It's like royalty.
Yeah.
So it was a pilgrimage for us back then.
Definitely.
I've been in the tap room once, managed to sneak away to have had a half pint in the tap room, and that was it. But it's a proper sun trap. It's unbelievable that we triangle gets so much sun.
Yeah. Hidden away, it's nice.
Really good. Really
good
good
stuff.
place.
Final thoughts on the beer, gents. I know we've let it warm up a little bit, which obviously changes the beer. We're still having positive vibes.
Sticking with my iced tea vibe, it's amazing. It's got that kind of really Moorish.
It's really floral. It's spicy. It's like a blonde plus. It's I love that kind of that blonde style, that blonde ale style. That's definitely in my wheelhouse. But it just gives it a little bit extra and just. But it's not so much that you wouldn't want to go back for more. Like I could see myself sitting and having 2 or 3 pints and quite happy, being quite happy with that. I forget who it was that made the point earlier on. It might have been you, Liam, that the object was to try and make a beer that wasn't just palatable for half a pint and interesting and draws somebody in, but think, oh well, yeah, it's okay, I can drink half a pint, but then I'll move on. But this is definitely not that. It's interesting, but it's also Moorish and nice enough that you can just keep going and keep going.
No, indeed, absolutely smashed it. In terms of the kind of tasting notes that we've put up there, is that what you guys were hoping from the beer, expecting from the beer?
Yeah. I for me personally, I really like the dryness of it. Like it's almost a bit like drinking wine in some ways, where just from the tannins of the tea, which I think really helps in terms of making people want more. Yeah. But I think that the beers come out very balanced, and I think that the hops and the tea complement each other really well. So yeah, very happy.
Hats off to you all. Absolutely smashed it. The beer is tasting wonderful, and it's went down way too quickly. Yes. I'll need to buy some more. Talking about purchasing the beer is going to be in some stockists. We don't know the full list. Is that right?
No, but I'm collating a list of everywhere it's been sold to so far, and I'm going to have like a custom Google Maps site on our website. So cool. Anyway, you want to find, just Google Natural Selection Brewing, and it will be all on the website for you.
Super stuff.
We'll put a link in the description, and
we certainly will. If you can
get Stewart beers there, the chances are you'll be able to get that beer there. I would imagine.
There's a lot of crossover there. Yeah.
You can head to the Stewart Brewing website, stewartbrewing.co.uk. The Natural Selection bit is up there as well. Again, like Callum says, I will put the link below in the description, and we'll obviously share the stockists when they are available. Wherever you have listened to the podcast, make sure you've subscribed, hit that ding-a-ling-a-ling to be notified of every single episode. You can show your support by giving us a 5-star rating, and you can show your official support by going to patreon.com/beer Fridge Podcast, where you get every single episode early. You can also sign up for a 7-day trial, free trial. So if you want, you can get this one tomorrow as we're recording it. Other than that, you'll get it next week. Who are you? Just sign up. Patreon.com/beer Fridge Podcast. Myself, Gavin, Scott, and Callum. Liam, Kinga, and Ben. Honestly, fantastic beer. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, and look forward to you taking over the brewing world.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.